Show of hands, smartphone fans. How many of you at one point or another have found yourself rocking a Huawei branded phone? And no, we're not talking the Nexus 6P, just to keep things interesting. Capital H Huawei. Well, despite being one of the biggest smartphone makers around, the brand's been slow to catch on in certain Western markets, and the US is just a prime example of that. But now Huawei's beginning to step up its US game, and under its Honor sub-brand is about to bring its latest phone, the new Honor 8, to the US market. Taking more than a few cues from the earlier Huawei P9's playbook, the Honor 8's attempting to wow shoppers with features like a dual-lens camera system, an attractive, well-built body, and some solid battery life. Pair all that with a price that comes in a couple $100 less than big-name flagships, and do we have a recipe for success? I'm Steven Schenk with PhoneArena, and after spending a few days with the Honor 8, I think I may just have an answer to that question. Let's take a look.
The Honor 8's one of many phones that can't shake a few comparisons to the iPhone, and rightfully so in this case. The handset's rounded-edged metal frame looks pulled from an iPhone 6S prototype sketch, and the bottom-edged USB Type-C port, speaker grill, and headphone jack do little to divorce us from that idea. Even in the phone's Emotion or EMUI 4.1 software, we see ample iOS parroting, from the way app icons are grouped to how notifications are displayed. But if you can manage to look past all that, Huawei is still bringing us an interesting little phone that's uniquely its own. Huawei builds the Honor 8 with a symmetrical look, matching the phone's front glass with a corresponding rear panel. It's impressively flat back there, with nary a camera bump nor fingerprint scanner lip to be felt, and under that glass lives a neat series of ridges that captures and focus ambient light into some attractive curves. It may not be as flashy as the embellishments that lived under the Nexus 4's rear glass back in the day, but it's still a pretty hot look. The Honor 8 measures 145.5 by 71 by 7.45 millimeters and features a 5.2-inch 1080p LCD screen. That ends up being a nice balance of usable size and pocket-friendly convenience, and the choice to go with 1080p helps keep costs down, battery usage low, and really doesn't detract much from the user experience. We're not missing Quad HD here. The phone runs one of Huawei's high-silicon Kirin 950 chips, and while this might have been flagship level last year, the rise of competition like the Snapdragon 820 has knocked it down a peg or two. Right now, its performance is somewhere between a top-of-the-line mid-ranger and an 820-based flagship. With the help of the Honor 8's 4GB of RAM though, the 950 does seem plenty ready to handle the lightweight EMUI interface, and while the phone won't win any benchmark contests, it easily pulls its own weight here. Our biggest issue is that the phone feels like it's running a little hot, and we're not just talking about when playing games either. Just taking a few quick pics was enough to get the Honor 8 heating right on up. One of the Honor 8's more interesting hardware components is its rear-mounted fingerprint scanner, one of the fastest we've run into and definitely up there among the most pleasant to use. Huawei extends the scanner's functionality by building a physical clicky button right into it. Beyond just tapping to unlock, you can press the button to quick launch an app of your choice, even setting up multiple apps to launch on single press, double press, or press and hold. Maybe the Honor 8's standout feature, the phone's primary camera is actually a pair of separate sensors. Unlike some other dual-camera smartphones, there's not one primary and one special effect camera here. Instead, one handles color and the other handles brightness, both 12-megapixel sensors. Combining the data from the two, the Honor 8 attempts to bring us better pics than we get from a single 12-megapixel component, and to a large extent it's successful. The phone's camera may not outperform heavyweights like the 12-megapixel shooter on this year's Samsung flagships, but it's also clearly more than just some twin-camera gimmick, and the colorful, well-exposed shots it produces are testament to that effect. Still, we found ourselves a little frustrated with a less than fully intuitive camera UI, especially when that came to rotating the phone. While rotating icons suggest a rotation-friendly design, the mode menu you swipe from the right to access in portrait mode is pulled up instead from the screen's bottom in landscape mode, and the camera settings screen, where you'll change things like resolution, isn't responsive to screen rotations at all. Additionally, some of the Honor 8's camera's special effects aren't quite executed as well as they could be. There's one mode designed to simulate a variable aperture, introduce all sorts of fancy-looking background blurriness. In certain environments it works as promised, but with busier backgrounds, the camera gets confused about what it's supposed to be blurring and what it's not. Video recording looks nice and sharp in HD, though the 60 frame per second 1080p mode does come out a bit darker than its 30 FPS sibling. And fair warning, there's no 4K recording mode, if that's a feature that's important to you. Huawei gives the Honor 8 a 3000 mAh battery, which seems to be more than sufficient for the handset's power demands. While we couldn't conduct our custom battery life testing with the phone's brightness set quite as high as we'd like it to be, making these results a little higher than they'd normally be, we did measure over 9 hours of screen on time. Recharge times are also pleasantly speedy, and using the included fast charger, the Honor 8 went from empty to full in just over an hour and a half. Call quality is fine, if nothing to cheer about, and the Honor 8's equipped to take advantage of T-Mobile's voice over LTE capabilities for even higher quality audio if you've got access. Band support extends across all of both T-Mobile and AT&T's LTE offerings, and you should have no problems getting the unlocked phone working with the carrier of your choice. The model being sold in the US is a single SIM edition, using the extra space on its SIM tray to allow for microSD expansion. And as far as built-in storage goes, the Honor 8 has a 32GB base capacity.
The Huawei Honor 8 may not have been on your short list of affordable Androids worth considering as we came into this review, but hopefully it's up there by now. It doesn't bet big on any fancy extravagances, instead delivering a really solid phone at a nice price, and you can pick an Honor 8 up for just around $400. Unfortunately, as has been the case before with phones that hit that $400 mark, we can't look at the Honor 8 without considering its competition, and other models like the OnePlus 3 simply give users a little more hardware and more performance for the same money. Stop us if we're sounding like a broken record. None of this means you should outright dismiss the Honor 8 though, and if you really dig what its dual cameras can do, or really appreciate the handset's design, by all means pick one up, because chances are you won't be disappointed. But if you do decide to shop around a little, there's a fair chance that you'll find another phone that delivers a little more what you're looking for pretty much the same price. I'm Stephen Shank with PhoneArena. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our other mobile coverage, including all the hot IFA 2016 action coming up soon.